Yeah, do you guys all remember when I did this Home Assistant build with like a really old processor and I just never really finished it? This is it. It's still sitting here underneath this because I am terrible. Yeah, since I've set it up, it really hasn't changed a whole lot. Just a little graphics card, CPU cooler, barely fit over the RAM, the whole 9 yards. I don't have any excuses. Look at this crappy little fan shroud. Yeah, that still exists. It doesn't even have all the fans either. How terrible is that? And it's sitting on an old computer. Like, I'm not proud of myself. But this is where we are. I mean, look at how flimsy this thing is. Like, this is primary focus. I'm gonna fix that. Also, this was sent to me a long time ago. This was sent to me by Cats, longtime patron off of Discord. Sent me this, and I want to hook this up into the new server. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Fact, all of the building and shit that I did is really just still kind of scattered throughout everything. This is all from the same project build. The biggest thing that held me up was gonna be this, right? It's a pretty thick metal. I'm gonna use this to put fans around it. I just have to bend it. Now I want to tackle this one step at a time, and that is going to be getting everything measured out. Try to make sure everything is straight, you know, just doing stuff like that. So you can see this is just sitting up here. Yeah. Oh, God damn. I moved them out of the way, and I'm pretty sure it's either gonna go right here or right here. Either way, the measurements are the same. So as you can see on this cut, it's gotta go a little edge right there. It's gotta go down. I have to have an under piece right there. See that? Little under piece. Gotta cut that out. But then I gotta cut the length, and then I have to bend the sides, and it has to go inside here. So I wanna try to make this as accurate as possible. So that is what I'm going to do. The best way to measure that is probably 6 7/8 just to play it safe. This is about 12/16. I'm gonna cut it just a little bit shorter. If we use a measuring tape, I have 17 and 1/4. Now that I have both of those marked, I'm going to make a bigger mark. So the big question is the best way to cut this with the tools that I have available, which about the only tool that I have available is going to be this thing, which kind of difficult to make it go straight, but I'm gonna have to do my best. All right, got my new blade on there. I think that's gonna be the best way. Essentially what I'm gonna do is I put this little guide here. This is an edger blade, solid steel. I use the biggest clamp I got that I'm gonna clamp that on there. I'm gonna take another clamp, put that over here just to try to give a little bit added support. And then I'm just gonna go at it. I'm gonna try to make this thing as straight as possible. And hopefully that works. Dude, that's a pretty good cut. Yeah. Not bad. A little bit of cleanup later, and I need to clean up some edges. Doesn't look too bad, but obviously it's a rough cut, so I gotta go take that over to the grinder and just make those edges not as sharp. That way I don't accidentally slice a finger when I go to work with this. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, which has seen better days, but it's not even very rough, but just gonna clean up the edges, real simple. And it's not gonna be super aggressive. So, man, that is smooth. I had to get rid of the sticker thing, but that is smooth. Like now I can run my fingers over it. All of those are smooth. Looking pretty good. Now I have to figure out how to bend that. I think I'm just gonna pull it over using all of that for thing, and hopefully it doesn't bow it out too much. Yeah, making this up as I go along, but I'm thinking about putting that solid piece of steel on the other side, which is going to be this right here. I thinking about putting this on the other side to help just keep it from like bowing, if that makes sense. In my head, this makes sense because the way I look at it, I got my edger blade right there. It's, you know, solidly put on there. I think this is going to be too close and I'm going to bend it a little bit and have to move these. So I think I'm going to readjust that just right off the bat. But I also put some aluminum on top so I can help that, like, to bend it back. So aside from moving that, I also put another piece of metal here just to keep that kind of sort of level. And I think aside from just moving these up so that doesn't, you know, hit the anvil thingy, whatever it is, I think this should be good. Yeah, that sucked. Okay, so it's 3 a.m. I'm gonna have to close the garage door and then just take a hammer to that and just make that a lot better, because that was the worst possible bend I could have ever done. Not perfect. Still a failure. But you know what? It's a little bit better and I know I can pound it into submission, so whatever. I honestly have to say, this turned out way better than I thought it would. Seriously, way better than I thought it would. I did not think I would get it that square, right? It's a little warped, but that is so much better than I thought it would. I think I'm gonna add blacksmithing to the list of things that I can do without starting fires. Okay, moment of truth. So as you can see, that one, was a little bit too big, but essentially it should fit right in there. Yep, that's perfect. So now, son of a bitch. Oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? So I think the best solution, because I can tell that I bent one side more than the other, like that's the shorter side. So I'm gonna put that into this, use that raw metal power to just bend this back and then just pound it into submission to hopefully be thin enough to fit, because may not look like much, but it's about 45 minutes. Rebent it back, trimmed down the edges, made it sure it's a little smaller just so it'd be less of a snug fit. It should absolutely fit now. Let's go try. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. How? Ugh, this cannot be. You know what? I'm gonna shove it in there. There you go. It's snug and it kind of bends it out a little bit, and I definitely have to mark it out and do some more cutting, right? Because you see how that edge comes up, so I have to like mark that up and then do some cutting. But, you know, aside from bowing out a little bit, freaking works. Now they got those cut out, I got this fan, because if you didn't notice, I had a little thing underneath it that allowed me to run wires because this sits on the other side, so I just want to make sure I have plenty of room and everything, which, you know, whatever, but I'm gonna cut a couple access holes just to make sure I can run wires through it. Look at that, goes all the way to the bottom over there, perfectly flush with the top. I got my outlines to put in the cables. I cut way too much, like on the side, but that's fine because I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to do it again. Perfect. Now the fun part, I gotta cut holes. All right, these things right here, these things are, I don't know how many amps they are, but they take a lot of power. I'm surprised they don't say how many amps. Anyways, these things are loud, they're obnoxious, and they are not PWM. So not only do I have to figure out a way to convert a PWM to a motor controller, which I think I did, I just gotta go back and do that again. But I noticed this. I went to go grab these because I have to start plotting out the holes, and I realized that this one has broken fins. I don't remember it being like that when I opened it up, so I think I broke it. I don't remember or know how, but that is very unfortunate. I have 3 of these things. I'm gonna cut everything in order to fit these,
and I'm gonna have to order another one of these, but they're basically gonna go like that. Let me line this up for you. Just like that. Let me line it up. Spill over just a little bit, but I can still get all my holes in there. It's a perfect fit, just like the last one. There we go. I can already tell you this is the worst idea, but it's the only idea I have to cut holes is with that. It's gonna look terrible, which sucks, but I don't have a better solution. I don't even know of a better, like, what do I even cut a hole with? And like thick steel. Besides that, I don't know if it's the best approach, but last time I did this with thinner metal, I went through a bunch of these things because I was trying to rotate it as I went, and that chews these things up fast. So this time I'm just, straight cuts, making this up as I go along. But, I'm not chewing through blades, so that's good. I'm just not sure if I should try to make more cuts or use the grinder thingy. That would take forever. It'd probably chew through the sandpaper. But I don't know how else not to screw that up. Was the best solution. Cut a little octagon out of it and use the little sander grinder thingy to grind out the hole. I mean, it's not a perfect hole, but it worked. Woo. Look at that. Yeah. I just realized that it's 5:45. Wait, almost 6. So sun's coming up. I need to go to bed. I hate when I get in projects and I just lose track of time, but there we go. That's awesome. I want to drill holes right now, but I don't have to. I need to go to bed, but look at that. Holes are great. Perfect. So now I'm gonna have to drill holes to mount the fans, and then should I paint it? Man, I figured screw it. If I don't paint it right now, even though the sun's literally coming up, I'm gonna want to paint it tomorrow, and that's gonna delay me. So time for bed. Okay, it's been another long and very interesting day. I definitely did not have the time that I thought to get to this, but I'm finally getting to it, even though it's getting dark. Okay, so I painted it with a thing of black, and then I put a layer of gold on it. So I figured with the black and everything going on with the server, I might as well add some accent. So now I need to mark out and drill holes for all the fans. And that is what a spray paint job looks like after it's only cured for 4 hours. And that is what it looks like underneath, which I think the way it goes in, it actually sits like this, which means that will be facing the other direction. So at some point I might end up taking this out and putting another layer of gold if I care, but I don't. So let's move forward. I'm even gonna put these grills on because this thing, it does spin fast, which is why probably this got broke, because I set it up and it was just running by itself, and these things are supposed to draw, I think, like an amp or two. But they draw a lot of power. They spin really fast, and it's a very big fan. I mean, it's very thick. It's like 250 CFM. Like, these things are no freaking joke, right? So I don't accidentally want to stick my finger in it, so I'm actually going to play it safe. So I only have 2 of these right now. I haven't tightened them down or anything, but I only have 2 of these right now. Now I'm getting to the point, this is the part that I haven't figured out yet, but I think I have, but I haven't really, is control. Like, I looked it up, it's 1.5 amps. This is not even something you can plug into your computer, right? So I already cut this. I'm gonna have to wire this up. I gotta figure out a way to get these under control because full send on these are ridiculous. Matter of fact, I got a power supply. Well, let me show you. So this is like a little motor governor voltage regulator thing that I have. I just keep it on hand. I've used it for a bunch of different random things. Handles up to 150 watts, 5 amps, 5 volts to 30 volts, and it just allows me to turn down like motors, turn them up, turn them down. So I'm gonna use that for this demonstration. I was actually gonna use my variable power supply. I plugged it in and whatever, and it didn't really seem like it was doing what it should. And then I realized 2 amps. That's all this can handle. At full speed, this is 3 amps because these are 1.5 amps each. So I have to get a better power supply. I'm just gonna lead in with the full experience here. You ready? Now these things say it's supposed to be 1.5 amps each. However, it's only pulling 2.6 for both of them. Math is not mathing. So I don't know if it has to do with that or it's that they're both hooked up. I don't know, but now I kind of want to test it out. Bypassing that though, just gonna twist some wires together, see if it reads the same. What do we got? Oh God, did I hook it up wrong? Let's try that again. Yeah. 1.3. Very interesting. At a solid 12. Nothing in the way. It's got plenty of amps. Full amps. Huh. Interesting. Okay, now that that's done, kind of, I need another one. I do have a Dark Power Pro, and I should have plenty of power left, floating around here somewhere. It's a modular, so I have cables somewhere. Seriously, Kat? How did you get right there? Like how is that? Like, the amount, like, you have to, so, what are you? What are you? This cat and that dog love to mess with each other. Exhibit A. Luna, sit. You're sitting, good job. Stay. Get it. For those of you who don't know that on the Molex cables, the red is 5 volt, the black ground next to it is that, and then yellow is 12, and then that's that. So this should give me, from one single Molex connector, this should give me a 5 and a 12 volt source, which I will tell you what I want the 5 volt for here in just a second. There's not a whole lot of option on what I'm getting in the mail that says I do or do not need a diode. So basically I don't want any feedback going back into the system, and I definitely don't want to ruin a power supply because of some crappy thing that I bought off Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the time and add on the positive rails. I'm going to add a diode just to make sure that it's only pulling power and it doesn't have any ability to feed back into the system, just because I question everything that I'm purchasing. Really is that simple, just a couple diodes. Wire that to a board. And the reason why I'm doing this board, I know I wanted to keep it simple. The reason why I'm doing this board, because I think of what I'm getting is potentially going to be able to wire it into this board, even though I don't like the way this connector works. Which actually, the biggest thing with these old Molex is that the biggest thing is that these things wobble all over, and they're so difficult to plug in because they're never straight. I've been feeling that once I actually get all the stuff and I try to do this a little bit better, this is all going to change, and I'm just going to snip some wires. But for now, this plugs into the power supply. This is the Molex connector. I successfully put the hot glue in here, so now those are straight, super easy to plug in. I added some reinforcement, just some electrical tape to help make sure that nothing touches anything. I took the 5 volt and the ground and I separated them and then just kind of attached them. That way they're off to the side, so they're not touching anything, because I will need them, but I'm not going to use them right now. Attached to the 12 and the volt and blah, 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 blah. So realistically speaking, this is ready to plug in. This is going to power that. It's not going to look great, but until I get the other fan and until I get the PWM controller, it will get everything up and running, and it's going to allow me to move forward. So now I only installed the 2 fans on this side because this thing's been running with 2 just random fans. And between keeping the CPU cool with that fan and then the graphics card, which I think this is a 28, 1080, 3080. Either way, so far it's been able to keep things relatively cool. And you add, basically a tornado worth of air, it should be really fine. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I have a 3rd hole, but whatever. I mean, this thing is just old. Look how flimsy. Look how skinny that is, flimsy it is. Like, hey, early days, look how bad those cuts are. Early days, I'm evolving at least. That's something. There we go. Slide that right in. Like a glove. I might not even, I'll put some holes in it. Anyways, there we go. Perfect. Alrighty, take this and plug that into this, which should be really easy. Look at that. Wait, yeah, look at that. Perfect. Fans have already come on. And honestly, standing back, it's not really that much louder. at least with just two of them running at 17%, so that's good. It's not absurdly loud, and since those things move so much freaking air, I highly doubt I will ever hear it go too loud. So I am really feeling good about this so far. Although those fans are pushing quite a breeze like on top of it, so I'm gonna use my nice fancy dancy cover. Come on, there we go. So that should help push most of that air. Yep, perfect. Most of the air is coming through here. That's perfect. Now, I know you guys might be wondering what the 5-volt was for, and that is because of this. This was sent to me by somebody on Discord, longtime patron of mine. These are Wi-Fi PC on and off plugs. Now these hook up to the actual motherboard themselves. They have 8266 controllers, I believe, but basically what this does is this separates like separately from the computer, and it actually like will physically make the connection to turn the computer on and off. So if you want to restart it, you want to power it on, power it off, you can do that with something like Home Assistant. So this was sent to me, thank you very much, Cats, quite a long month ago, give or take 2 months, whatever. And I set it on my server knowing that whenever I get everything wired, I want to also hook this up. Took those fans off, like, let's just demonstrate. You see how crappy this is? It's nothing. Absolutely nothing. Anyways, these things were sent to me. It's got a little breakdown here. These actually connect to the pins on your motherboard, and I should just be able to hook it up to Wi-Fi, and then I can import that into Home Assistant or whatever, and then I can turn off, like, look at that. I can turn off things just automatically or just remotely without actually having to worry about the computer itself being reliable, which honestly, I haven't had a lot of issues because I'm running Proxmox, but hey, it's always nice to have that option because whenever you really need one, it's nice to have one. So I don't know if I'm gonna do anything with that tonight, just because I don't have the circuitry for the rest of the stuff, so I don't want to get too far into wiring, but this is going to be incorporated somehow. Now this whole thing is a step process, right? I don't know if you remember, but I actually had a top to this. I may or may not have went down a weird path of some gold flakes. Did not work. Either way, part of the step process here is to take those tops, sand them down, put just a basic coat of black on it, and then go from there. So I have other steps. I don't know how much I'm going to make for this video, but I do want to go ahead and just start sanding those things down, put a layer of black on them. That way they can just cure overnight and just dry it and all that other stuff. I think better light puts it in perspective. It's just pits, whatever. I have an electric sander. This should be easy. Oh yeah, bare metal. Took a while, but now I'm gonna throw some paint on it. I really doubt I'm gonna do multiple layers. I think I'm just kind of gonna go with it because I can take these off and do it better if I want to later, but for right now I just want it black. Here we go. Paint job number 1, more or less complete. And of course a bug had to land on my paint job. Little bastard. That'll have to do for now. Now you see all this crap right here? This is the drive cage, all the little drive stuff, and you know, some of the stuff I didn't use obviously, but that is just not something I'm ready to start tackling at 4:30 in the morning. So hopefully I can get this edited real quick. I mean, this is probably gonna be a short video because I just basically made a piece of metal and painted something. I'm sure I did more. I have to go back and look, but the next step is going to be start assembling all the drives, get all that put together. So it's actually a server. Now that I have the tops painted, I can put that together. So again, actually a server. I will get the fan and I will get the stuff I need for the PWM control. So I'm excited to kind of put that together and show you how that works. That's going to be interesting. Then I'm going to install this remote restart like thing, power and restart device somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be inside or outside. Don't really know. I'm making this up as I go along. So that's how I roll. But either way, I'm excited that when I started building this whole, like, I know it's a basic processor and all that. When I started building all this Home Assistant thing, I got so enveloped in all of the Home Assistant crap that it just completely diverted me away from finishing the server. So I'm excited. Now I'm on a roll and I'm ready to get this thing built. And then as soon as I get some drives in the mail, I'll be able to migrate some things over because I have some plans. That system is running Proxmox, which runs Home Assistant as a virtual machine. And then I want to install kind of a developer's playground area thing of Unraid where I can just go through, check out new updates, try new things without risking, you know, like my main Unraid system. So I'm gonna try to emulate that within Proxmox. And then because of my DVR server running Blue Iris and it's a Windows VM, that's having issues, I'm also going to try to run that on that as well. So, you know, it's going to be a whole step process. Paint needs to dry, more time needs to be had, but hey, look forward to next video. If this video comes out tomorrow, what is tomorrow? 31st, 30th, whatever, 31st. If this video comes out tomorrow, after that, I'll still have the Jason Bytes back to do. So tomorrow is probably going to be wrapped up in something like that. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. If you have any ideas, compliments, or complaints, leave those in the comment section down below. And have yourself a great day.